human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. It's the power of 8 at 8:18. Yeah, got our 3 8s there by accident. Okay, I had you muted. Thank goodness I caught it there. Okay.
Are we live?
We are live. Yeah, no takebacks. Well, we can cut it out.
Start over. No, just kidding.
All right, restarting the stream. We're going to get this perfect tonight. I'm just playing.
Both of Shane's and my computers just went out. They just went poof, and they just went out, just dead.
Yeah, now we're wondering if it has something to do with maybe because we got a solar storm, solar wind blowing in from this huge, what do they call those? It's not a sunspot.
I don't know. It's not a CME.
No,
it's not an IMF. That's like the International Monetary Fund. It's like it's an electromagnetic storm.
It's a dark spot on the sun. I can't remember.
Yeah, the hole in the corona.
Yeah.
But what do they call those storms? Electromagnetic?
Somebody help us out here. We're struggling.
Ronnie, where are you, Ronnie? When we need you? Or Dead GPK. Dead GPK would know it off the top of his head.
Yeah, you take it for granted when you. Well, actually. If I wasn't on the air, it'd pop right in my head. But something about being on the air just cuts all these,
Oh, interesting. Changes your awareness, your retrieval of information.
Yeah, it's like a lot of my RAM that I would normally have available to me to search things out and stuff like that are like, I really think of the brain's sort of like a computer, where you have long-term memory as your hard drive, and then like your working memory, whatever you're doing at the moment, is your RAM. So when you reboot your computer and it clears that off, you get a nice fresh batch of RAM on your computer, and you begin to open programs and fill it up. And so when I go live, I've got all of these little things that it's like I load a program in, and it's
sucking up all your RAM.
How
about when you're meditating? When you're meditating, your RAM's just like out there in the universe,
That's
right?
like restarting for me.
Yeah.
It's like I'm dumping it all, and I'm like, oh, finally, just let all that go. And that's why
I love meditating. I think our whole group loves meditating, obviously, or they wouldn't be here for live meditations on Saturday night.
Yeah, I was actually thinking, we kind of dance around the topic a lot, but maybe a meditation on raising consciousness or awareness for the planet.
Yeah. Okay, because last week we did water, and the week before we did disclosure on everything. Not just disclosure on aliens, but truth.
Yep.
Truth. And I had a really interesting synchronicity occur again, just like the week before. And when we did water, we were cleaning up the water in our bodies, in our homes, in our communities, and in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And like 2 or 3 days later, in my suggested videos that you get from YouTube, from watching other videos, Chicks came up. And I don't know if you know her, but she's really, really a smart woman. And she mostly focuses on geography changes on her channel. But then she goes on to SMQ AI on Saturdays and talks about anything. And she was going, oh, this looks different. The water looks cleaner. And then she goes to a part of like Greece, the Mediterranean, which is notoriously dirty. And she goes, oh, wow, that looks better. That water's looking crystal clear. And she kept going through different waterways and commenting how unusually clean they were.
You're kidding me.
I am not kidding you. If you go look at her last live video, she keeps like, in the first hour, because she does like a 2 to 3 hour live stream like once a week or every 2 weeks. All through the video, she'd go, oh, I don't remember it being that clean. I remember it being a different color. Look at the color of the water now. But here's the really interesting part. I got notification to go see the video 3 days after we did our water meditation. And I looked at the date that she uploaded it, and she uploaded it 2 days before we did our water meditation.
Retro causality.
Yeah, just like the week before.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So is anybody else getting like little synchronicities that kind of match what the topic of the group meditation was? Are you getting any, Shane?
I've just been so stuck in research that and not watching any news or anything. I don't. No, I can't. I
No
have been
synchronicities.
I have been getting, information confirming that we should be doing what we're doing in my research,
Oh, that's
whether it's
good.
like the Schumann or whatever, and like really taking control of your reality and your intentions and creating what you want. And so, on that respect, what we've been doing, but not specific topics, that I can think of anyway.
You see, for me, it just makes me wonder, is this my own little reality bubble? I know you're all out there and you're all in your reality bubbles, but every time you join together with me and my reality bubble gets into your reality bubbles, I get synchronicities all through the week on the topic that we were meditating on. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm the only one getting these synchronicities. I don't know. I don't know. I wonder if anybody else in the group,
I need to get out more.
notices things. Huh?
I need to get out more, I said. Well, I take my wife to
Earth to
work.
Shane, put that book down.
I take my wife to work in the mornings, but I'm just waking up. She says I don't say anything to her the whole time. I'm like, I'm asleep. I'm not trying to be rude.
Oh
I'll
no,
say goodbye or
no.
whatever, and then I get back home and like mosey on back to the bed. And I guess I try not to wake up too much, but you know,
You have to wake up enough to drive.
yeah.
Although people keep bumping into me. I went like 30 years without an accident, and now I've been bumped, including my daughter's car and my car, 3 times in a year. And the explanation is, I didn't see you. And then somebody comes on a video and goes, as your frequency raises, people are not going to see you. They're not going to notice you so much anymore. You're going to become invisible.
Oh my gosh, that explains why I'm so 3D when I'm driving around. It's like my higher self saying, "Go ahead and get a little angry at these people that way."
So they can see you.
So they don't
Beep,
run
beep.
into
They
you.
can't even hear me. I'm like beeping at this car as it continues. I'm in a standstill,
Yeah.
beeping at a car while it just slowly backs into me. Crunch. That crunch cost $1,000, but he had to fix it. But then my trade-in value went down, and they're not going to fix that.
All right.
So I gotta become visible. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's probably what happens. You get cut off. They're like, "I didn't see you," and then you appear because you get angry, so your frequency drops into their. You just appeared out of nowhere.
Well, I was sitting at a red light and a guy bumped into me, and I got out of the car, no damage. And he goes, "Oh my God, I just didn't see you." And I'm like, "My lights are on. It's dark out and my red lights are shining." And he's like, "I don't know." And then the other one, I was sitting in daylight in a parking lot, just sitting there, and a guy just pulled into the back of me, and he's like, "I never saw you. Where did you come from?"
Well, that raises another issue. Does our car shift with us, or the things we're touching or around?
Yeah, I think they do, because otherwise they'd see my car,
And wonder
right?
why it's driving itself. Right.
They'd see my car.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's interesting though. It really is. It's fascinating. And today was a really good week. Politically, I know we don't like politics, but as long as we're in 3D, we have to deal with it occasionally. It's been going on for 3 weeks. And I just discovered it like a week ago. I started getting some alt news reports that people in Paris were taking to the streets peacefully. And I'm like, oh, those Parisians, they're always protesting. I lived over in Germany and England.
Mm-hmm.
And if something goes wrong with the government and they try to screw you, the first ones on the streets are always in Paris. They're just like known for it. So I didn't pay much attention to it. And then somebody sent me this video, and I was like, holy moly, this is big. This is like the city being shut down with all these people in yellow vests. They call themselves yellow jackets, and they just want to be seen and heard, totally nonviolent. And the straw that broke the camel's back is people in Europe pay $10 a gallon for the gasoline. They have done for decades. They pay $2 a liter. They buy it by the liter. It's about 5 liters to a gallon. And 50% of that is always tax. Okay. But, for their taxes, they get free university for their children. They get health care. They get dental. They get 12 months medical leave. And everybody in the country by law has to have 6 weeks holiday paid a year. And that's all paid by their own taxes, like tax on gasoline. That's why their gasoline is like, $10 a gallon instead of $3 a gallon. So anyway, apparently they decided to add a green tax on it because of global warming and add another 30%. And that was it. That just brought men, women, and children out of their homes into the streets with, yellow vests on so they don't get run over, and just peaceful demonstrations. Unfortunately, in Europe, there's a lot of anarchists as well who just show up anywhere to throw bottles and rocks, burn cars, break windows. They just kind of go from country to country just for the fun of it. But there hasn't been a lot of that this time around.
Yeah, I saw the video by We Are Free TV with Luke Rudowski, I believe his name.
Oh yeah,
is.
We Are Change. Is that the same one?
Yeah, We Are Change. YouTube channel, so you can check out that video if you didn't know about it. And then recently, Michelle Wolf put out a video showing how the police were actually taking off their helmets.
Yep.
So
in like solidarity, saying we're not going to hurt you. I put out a video today too, about 2 hours before the show, and it's the same one from We Are Change. I contacted Luke, said, look, I'm going to use portions of your video, try to spread the word, let me know if you want me to pull it. And he, obviously it's going to help him get more subs and get the word out.
Yeah.
But
he's on the ground over there, just so you
know. Isn't he? He's got the wrong equipment though. He's wearing a ski mask to keep tear gas out of his eyes. So he needs some kind of
to keep the gas out, which
it's not the right equipment, Luke, if you're watching this, which I know he's not because he's on the street. But
and he's got tears in his eyes.
He has tears in his eyes for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring it up is because it's all part of this change. It's all part of we want people to awaken to the truth. And then when you see what's happening, they're not only awakening to it, but then they're going out and demanding change. They're basically saying that they're out there because of low wages, high taxes, high cost of living. They just can't make it anymore with their families in a comfortable way, And this is what I wanted to bring up, was that these stupid ruling elites, when are they going to learn that if you just give people enough money to have a decent life, they won't go to the streets. They'll just keep buying stuff and watching TV as long as they have enough to feed their family.
Right, like the rest of the world.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like when you think of the fall of Greece and Rome and Egypt, it's like they don't get it. They don't figure out how far they can actually go.
Looks like I lost my camera again.
On you or me or both?
Just me. Darn son. I'm just playing. Okay.
So anyway, guys, I see this as a positive change. I see it as good news. We're not only waking people up, but when people are awake to what's really going on, they go out and do something about it in a peaceful way to change it. Time for change.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we're going to get 5D down here. I think we're actually going to have to go through some kind of a process of transmuting the old and creating the new.
Yeah, and I think, it's sort of our job. I was just watching a video, what was his name? Matt Kahn was talking about there's different levels of sort of awakening and consciousness, and that, there's the star seeds that while those people go out and do their protests, because that's what they feel like they need to do, and everybody has their part, and people should do what they feel in their heart they should do, and which is what those people are doing. But the other people that are maybe on the other side of the globe, or other side of the planet, I should say, or just don't feel like they need to get out there, or they want to sort of attack it from a higher perspective, can hold the light for those individuals to help keep it peaceful and help it not escalate, or help keep the energies pure,
And to use their energy to create a successful outcome for the people who are on the ground. Which is kind of what we do here when we meditate every week. We kind of really push it out for successful outcomes. Are you still there, or am I the only one?
Whoops. Yeah, I just got stuff falling apart on me here. You're okay though.
You haven't been hit by one of those waves from the sun, have you?
I think I got hit by CME over here.
Oh my God, Shane, come back. Yeah, I see it as all positive. I really do. I know it might not be pleasant, but it is peaceful, and it is pretty big. It's like the whole city. It's pretty amazing to watch that we're kind of getting what we asked for. you know?
Yeah, who were you talking about last week? You said, gosh, Bruce Lipton, was it, that you said whenever
Oh,
things get shaken up that he gets excited because that means that
yeah.
change is coming or whatever.
Oh, yeah. He'll probably be dancing a jig tonight. Oh, he's going to be on with Lynne McTaggart on their Facebook pages. Like
Mm,
Monday or tomorrow. One of these days, they're going to sit down and chat together, but on Facebook. But then I don't really do Facebook, but then they're going to probably put it on their YouTube channels afterwards. But he is such a positive scientist, and he wrote that Biology of Belief, where genes, epigenetics, you can turn your genes on and you can turn your genes off with the power of your thoughts and feelings.
hmm Yeah, and that was that the same guy that did the healing? Or I think that was the other guy that did the healing with the Chinese scientist on the MRI.
Oh, that's one of his buddies. They always tour together and
Right, I
talk.
always mix those two guys up.
What is his name? Not Bruce Lipton. Oh gosh, I
Couple
don't
of
know what.
awakened guys. I want one, to try to get them
Greg
on sometime.
Braden.
Yeah, Greg Braden. Yeah, I like that guy.
Greg Braden. Yeah, he's kind of big on Gaia TV now, I think.
Okay, I think I got my camera working here. Am I back for you?
No, but oh, now you are.
Okay.
Now you're back for me anyway. Can everybody else? Hi, everybody in the chat that I cannot see, but I can feel you. I can feel you there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let me move my mic out of the screen there. All right. So, yeah, I think that's just, I like seeing the change going around all over the planet, even if it seems like things are getting worse
Shaken
at
up,
times.
shaken up a bit.
It's like we were talking about cleaning out your fridge. You got to pull it out and see the dirt
Ooh.
before you can clean it out, or pull out really any piece of furniture.
And I love that they're doing it peacefully. I love that they're not breaking windows and burning cars. This is a big change
Yeah.
for Paris. But I think because it's regular people. I really do. I think that made it peaceful.
Yeah, it sucks that there always has to be those few individuals that go out there, like you were talking about the anarchist or whatever, and they sort of,
Yeah,
you know,
they kind of travel around, and they could also be funded by the people who want to discourage protest. They could be sending busloads of anarchists around to loot and burn to make the protesters look bad. But that's not happened this time. I don't know what's going on. It's like we're getting exactly what we're asking for.
yeah. But they start
Peaceful
shooting
change.
rubber bullets and tear gas today, which leads me to believe, like you're right, maybe they do send in because it doesn't take but a small group of people because they'll film the guy throwing the rock and you'll assume everybody's being
Oh, but I
violent,
watched the footage,
you know.
and the police started using tear gas and rubber bullets, and then the peaceful crowd started looking for rocks. There were no anarchists burning buildings and cars. They
Right.
just started getting rubber bullet shot, kind of like our Native Americans over that pipeline,
Yeah.
right? And then you could see them trying to bust up concrete to make rocks out of. So I don't know, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't like really scary, bloody. Nothing that I've seen has been really scary. It's all been quite peaceful.
Yeah, I need to follow Luke and see what he said. He's going to do some more updates. Ryan Reeves is saying that the UN has sent tanks in. So
But even the people being gassed with tear gas didn't really do anything.
no,
If you watch the footage, they're just like walking around.
or throwing them back towards them to get them away from
Yeah,
themselves
they're
and
not
stuff.
really doing anything. They're not responding in a big, violent way. So eventually, if the tanks start going in on the people of Paris, it's going to be like that Chinese man in Red Square who just stood in front of a tank with his grocery shopping. Do you remember him?
Yeah.
I think they called him Tank Man
All right.
back in Tiananmen Square. Did you ever see that? You might
Yeah.
not have been born yet. Were you? Yeah.
I know that was a Mandela effect. People were saying they remembered them getting hit, while other people say they would, and for me, it was, I never remembered them getting hit, because,
I never remember him getting hit either. Not like they would show us that part of it, even if he did get hit, right?
yeah.
Interesting. Interesting times, but the crowd is being very peaceful. I was like, wow, this is a good thing. This is
Yeah,
a
I
good
will
thing.
find the link there, Ryan, and put it in there, because it's We Are Change. And it should pop right up since I just watched it earlier.
And drop a link to my video, because I did a video on it too.
Okay, I'll have to find
2
your
hours
channel
ago.
here. Let's see. Okay, that's that one. Let me copy this.
And I'm just going to keep checking in and seeing, praying that it stays peaceful.
Here is the We Are Change link. And actually, I can go into the video and get your link here.
And then when we do our meditation for expanded consciousness, we can throw in that all changes are peaceful, that there is peaceful change. And that's good forever. That's not going to have an expiration date on it.
Yeah, because if we've got a shift in consciousness, we're definitely going to have change.
A political shift, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, if the way that 5D Earth gets here is through us, right? We lift the planet's frequency up. And not the other way, that the planet's frequency lifts up and drags us along, some of us along with it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we are going to have to somehow shift out the bad characters who are abusive to humanity and put in better characters who are compassionate to humanity. So at some point, we got to figure that out. We got to figure out how do we get the old out and get the new in as peacefully as possible and as painlessly as possible.
You know what I found interesting? Now, this isn't me complaining that, it's happening. I found it interesting to observe it happening. I've been talking a while now about my numbers are being messed with. And I don't know. I actually think it could be a good thing or a bad thing. Maybe the higher ups are keeping me out of a certain number that you hit, and then they start keeping a closer eye on you. So I'm not saying I even know if it's good or bad. I'm observing it happening, and I can see my numbers being jacked with, all of a sudden, and as far as subscribers and views and things like that. But the other thing I observed today was I looked over at, you got a list of subscribers on the left, and you can, usually whoever's live will come to the top, and it'll have the little live emblem on there. So I looked over there, and there was a channel that I'm not subscribed to, or, they subscribed me to a channel, is what I'm trying to say. It was a hash channel, the hash or something. It was all about making like marijuana cookies and
interesting,
and smoking weed and growing weed and all that, which I have no problem with that, but that's my old life. So it led me to believe that since that was my drug of choice, right, for most of my life, that it was like, a temptation.
There was a message there. That was like a little message.
Maybe a temptation, though. Like, hey, you want to come back into this old life of, smoking weed all the time? Which I don't, it wasn't a temptation.
Interesting.
But
I'm going to go through and check my subscriptions and see who I'm subscribed to.
So, of course, I tried to think logically about it. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go over to the channel. I'm going to look through all the videos, because whenever you watch a video, it shows you a little red line at the bottom of like how far you made it through the video. If you just watch a little bit or a lot of it, I'm thinking the guy could have changed the name since I subscribed. Maybe he covered the Mandela Effect a long time ago, and now he's doing weed stuff. And I just didn't realize he switched the name. So I went through every single video, scrolled through it real slowly, never watched any of the guy's videos. The bell wasn't clicked. I always click the bell. So it subscribed me to a channel, but didn't click the bell.
Ah, because if they clicked the bell, you'd find out you were subscribed to him by getting his announcements, and you'd be like, why is this guy in my messages, notifications? Yeah.
It was just strange. So I just wanted everybody to know that, while it seemed like I was getting messed with losing subscribers, because the way the little bar graph goes, it seems very robotic, not organic. And because it used to be like whenever I put a video out, I'd either gain subscribers because they liked what they saw, or people wouldn't like it and I'd lose it. But now it's like it doesn't matter what days I put out a video. It's just this constant dip down beneath. Like you lose some day, you gain some day, you lose some, and it looks very robotic compared to
robotic. I had weird numbers from March, April until probably October. And I don't know what shifted, but now I feel like my numbers are a little more honest, a little more normal based on the content I put out. If I put out something that's about meditation, it might get 100 to 200 views. And if I put out something on the Mandela Effect, it might get 5,000 views.
Oh, so, yeah. I wasn't saying there's anything wrong with weed, guys. I was just telling you. I was stating the facts. I'm not down on weed or anything. It got me to where I am today, and I'm thankful for it. But it's just not part of my life anymore, So,
or it's not necessarily. Maybe the channel doesn't present weed in the really normal, healthy way. Maybe it's. I don't know. Who knows?
I don't know. I just looked to see if I'd watched a video before, or if they shifted their topic and changed their name. But no, I'd never watched
I
any
guess
of
the
their
point
videos.
is not being subscribed without your permission. You
Yeah,
don't want to find out you're suddenly subscribed to a bunch of people that you didn't pick. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I
Yeah,
went
that's
through the
kind of
whole list,
weird.
and that was really the only one that stood out, and I only noticed it because he was live, and it made it come to the top. And I'm like, the hash channel or the hash or something along those lines. Looked like he had a lot of good content. Cookies
Well,
and
I've
stuff.
kind of decided, and this is not a good thing because what you get what you focus on and you get what you decide. And I've just decided that I'm going to be a small channel, and that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
So now, like you, a couple of months ago, were telling me, you said, don't even think about it. Don't even watch it. Just see what happens. But that's different than if you're being messed with. If you see that you're doing good work and you're making an effort and they're actually taking things away, that'd be a bit frustrating. I wish we had an alternative to YouTube.
yeah.
But
DTube, but it's
dear me,
it's
when is it going to grow to the level of,
yeah.
YouTube?
I guess when people get fed up with YouTube and start going over there. And I noticed with that, it's so hard it's real glitchy. I've tried to upload videos, you spend all this time uploading it, and then it's like, it freezes on you and you got to refresh it, and then it's like you never did anything, so you got to try to re-upload the whole thing again. It's like, oh my gosh. And then
Well, it's kind of what they want. They'd rather bump us off of YouTube than have a real mix. So I'm going to stay. Um, you know,
yeah,
I'm going to stay. And if an alternative open up that works, I'll definitely do both.
yeah, definitely.
But we have a great community here. So we have a reason to stay here. There's all these amazing people who went all over YouTube and went, oh my God, it's so scary out there. Nobody's being positive. And then boom, they found people who actually are positive, and more came and more came and more came.
Yeah. And I feel like whoever's supposed to find me will find me, so I'm not worried about the numbers or anything like that. So, I love the little group. I know that when I put out that one about Ariana Grande, I got this influx of a whole bunch of people that I wish wouldn't have found me. So,
No,
you
no, they're
know,
not your people. That
no,
that wasn't, even though you're putting that topic out for us,
yeah,
it's like it draws in more than us.
yeah,
Yeah. I get a little bit of that with the Mandela effect, but not too bad.
yeah,
Sometimes I just ignore them. If they're not like really mean, I'll leave their comments up and just ignore it and not worry about it.
yeah. It was neat at first seeing the numbers go up so fast, because if you hit a hot topic that's trending at that moment, like my daughter came and told me about it. I'm like, are you serious? So I just happened to look into it right away and had no idea it was fresh off the thing. And I'm like, look at all these inconsistencies. So I start putting them out. And the next thing I know, you can refresh it every second and it's going up hundreds of views. It's like, oh my gosh, I've never seen anything grow so
I had
fast.
one, and it wasn't as big as your Ariana Grande. My UFO video got 50,000 views.
Oh,
And that's
wow.
because people kept sharing it. Apparently, they shared it on Facebook, and then it went to Spain, and then it went to Russia. And yeah, I could track it going all over the world based on comments of where the comments were coming from.
Yeah, I noticed a few Russian comments. I was like, I wonder what they're
Yeah.
saying. So, yeah, that's pretty cool.
And one guy said, oh, I just saw your video on Spanish TV. I'm like, what? What?
What? Wow.
He's got this on TV.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
speaking of which, that freaky UFO that I had that looked like a banner, but it was light. It was like disappearing and appearing, and
Yeah.
you
Like
know,
kind of
um,
half cloaked or whatever.
they
Yeah.
are all over the world, and they come as squares and rectangles. The other thing that's all over the world suddenly being filmed by normal people in all different languages, you can kind of tell that they're not CGI, are black balls and silver balls. And they're pretty high up, and they can stop, hover, or they can move. And then a lot of triangles, a lot of triangles, which I think are R's, right? They're those TR3Bs,
Mm-hmm.
or are they T3RBs? I always get the three and the R.
TR3Bs, I think.
TR3Bs.
That sounds right.
So they're cloaked and they're R's, and apparently they can uncloak a side, just a side, or they can uncloak two sides and make it appear like a boomerang UFO. So now
Ah,
people are taking pictures of boomerangs and triangles, and I'm like, no, that boomerang is a triangle with one of its sides cloaked. Yeah.
wow. That's neat.
Mr. MB333 had a triangle on. Everybody's getting triangles. I see at least one a year. I've seen 4.
Now, the cool thing is, I just watched a video last night where they were actually talking about that there was all these ships that are cloaked, higher dimensional ships that are cloaked in our atmosphere, and these shuttles that go back and forth between them to shuttle the people around up there. That's crazy to imagine all this is going on above us. But then this is what they said. This is what got me, because I thought about the footage that you captured and stuff. Is they were like, these shuttles look like squares or cubes, and I was like, how many of these have we seen recently?
They are flying. They're flying cubes and flying triangles.
That's what they're
Or, I mean,
doing.
maybe they are shuttles, or maybe people have seen that and are calling those the shuttles. You never know what came first.
Right, right.
I mean, I totally believe in UFOs and aliens, and I know they are watching us. We are being studied and watched carefully.
Yeah.
And I know they probably interfere a little bit in their studies with us, but I honestly, truly believe that they have to follow that non-intervention clause that all good scientists have to follow. Because if they didn't have to follow non-intervention, man, they would be in here. They would have been in here to gather us up as food, gather us up as slaves. Or the good ones would have been in here stopping Hiroshima, preventing the World Trade Center from being hit, So there's a lot of good evidence that they can't intervene, more than that they're secretly waging a war where we can't see it, we can't hear it. You know what I mean? That's secret war.
Completely on a higher level of just a higher vibrational war going on up there that we can't see or hear. Or maybe that's some of the weird
that kind of sounds like
sounds.
the angels and God and Satan as well. That's
Yeah.
our higher dimensional war as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally.
But it's all in here. Here's the dimensional war. Are you going to be good, or are you not going to be good? Or are you just going to sit in the middle and be a little bit of both?
Yeah.
So our dimensional wars seem to be internal. They seem to be with ourselves.
Well, I think it was in Star Trek that they called it the Prime Directive, that higher life forms can't interfere with lower life forms, but they do covertly whenever, if it's going to be the start of World War III, or they're going to set off some nuclear bombs or do something that's really going to hurt the overall, but they do it on the down low, covertly, where you can't see that they intervene, because times in the past where they've done that, we viewed them as gods. And so they can't do it that way either, because then it's like the gods intervened and saved us, and then we begin to want to worship them, and they don't want that either. So
no, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense. But David Wilcock was talking on, I can't remember, Wonder. Do you know the Wonder show? They're quite good. Two guys sit there and they talk about anything unusual.
Oh, Edge of Wonder.
Yeah, Edge of Wonder.
Have you seen how fast that channel has grown? I just got to.
Yes.
Because I started, like, I want to say maybe 6 weeks ago. I first noticed, maybe 2 months, but they were at like 20 or 30,000. They're at like
now they're like 250,000.
Yeah, they've grown like. In fact, you can see a video from like 2 weeks ago where it says 100,000 subscribers, and it was just 2 weeks ago. And then I looked,
like 250,000 subscribers. Yeah. These guys are really good and they're really fun. And I commented on one of their videos that the first 3 quarters seems to go along with the gloom and doom version, and they keep going, we don't agree with this, we're just presenting it to you. And then at the end they spin it and go, well, it's really all up to you, it doesn't have to end that way, I'm sure we have, so they kind of spin it positive at the end. And I just said, hey, put some of that positivity up front, because a lot of people aren't going to sit here and wait 20, 30, 40, 50 minutes to get the positive spin. So that's the only thing. I really like them. They're entertaining, they're fun, they're smart, they're interesting. They tackle all subjects.
I'm surprised they haven't got shut down, to be honest. The stuff they've covered.
But they're not like high impact films. They're not like, where he or SGT report. I don't really watch these, but I've seen a few of their videos where they're more hard hitting.
Didn't they get taken down, or did they?
Yeah, they're back though. They're back with smaller channels.
Okay.
And then that's what I've seen anyway, that they're back. So they're not too controversial, are they? A little controversial.
I don't know. Some of the stuff about the cabal that they were talking about, I was like, oh, man.
Yeah, so David Wilcock was on today or yesterday. I caught it while I was driving today, just driving and listening. And he was talking about Paradise, California was one of the towns that burnt up, but a lot of towns did burn up. And he was saying, we haven't told anybody, but that was a real alien human what we call it, center, where the cabal is like stationed with aliens on Earth. And he said that the burning of it was quite a political thing to do, was a real, we'll see. Because I mean, I like David Wilcock, but sometimes I think he lives a little bit in fantasy. But who knows? One man's fantasy is another woman's fact, right?
Yeah.
Who's to judge?
Yeah. I don't know. His books to me are always right on, but
Yeah.
as far as seminars and stuff, I'm always like, I don't know. I just stay objective with it, take the information and because like, some of the people he's presented, I don't know about them. They could be true. Like for instance, with what's his name, the guy, the blue
Corey Good
Corey Good.
and Emory.
And Emory Smith, yeah. But
Emory Smith.
Corey Good's a good example of someone that I feel like he could be telling the truth from his point of view, but it could be totally implanted memories that the government did or something too. Like he really believes what he's saying, but maybe it was just implanted memories or something. So I try to stay unbiased with the whole thing and try to really take in what he says, but also not sort of buy into it completely that it's 100% true.
Well, I to judge it, for me, this is just for me, because a lot of people think I'm wacky because I believe in the Mandela Effect, right? And I think that Corey Good and Smith and I do like David Wilcock's books. I think they're a bit wacky because they believe in the secret space war. So the way I judge it for me is how does this information impact my life?
Mm-hmm.
So what message are they giving me? When I read David's books, they're really full of empowering information, right?
And
on
great
energy.
Research too, yeah.
Great research, energy, sacred geometry, all kinds of scientific things that you can use in your own life to have a better life. But when I listen to his videos and then listen to Corey Good and Emory Smith, because I did go to their conference as well, they're basically saying, do nothing. Don't worry. There's a secret space war and we're winning. And we're going to take the cabal out and we're going to put good people in down here and you are saved. You are saved by the white hats, the Secret Space Alliance. Do nothing. And I come away from that and I go, how does that serve me?
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. How does it serve my life and make my life better? It doesn't. It's more of the status quo. It's like, we know you want change, but for God's sakes, don't do anything to bring about change in your life or the collective life. So that's what puts me off, is when people tell me to do nothing, that a savior is coming to take care of me and make everything good.
Mm-hmm.
They said there's going to be a financial reset. All of our debt's going to be wiped out. People won't have to work 40 hours a week. People can go to university. People can travel. And all you have to do is just sit back.
Well, the last of the what was it on Gaia TV where he was on there?
Wisdom teachings or cosmic disclosure?
Cosmic disclosure. Okay, so I had played a clip of him talking a while back. It was probably been over a year now. Somebody left a message saying that, why are you playing this guy? And I'm like, well, what specifically is the problem? And they didn't watch the video. I could tell after they told me what the problem was, like, because they explained exactly what you did, because he says basically, there's a savior, they're going to come, they're going to save us, don't worry about it and all this. But in the video, he actually, and this has been for about a year now, he's been actually saying that they're not going to do it for us and that we need to work on raising our vibration. And he's actually changed up his tone a little bit from how he was talking, say, season 1 of Cosmic Disclosure. Well, I don't know, this last season he was all about telling how they met with them and that we need to help do our part and that they're not going to do it all for us. So he has shifted his story in recent times from...
But he shifted it back.
Oh, he did? He shifted it back again? Oh, okay.
He shifted it back because at the conference in July, he was saying, law of one, you have to raise your vibration to go along with this. And then in the video, he was saying, look, Q, those 40,000, 60,000, 100,000 sealed indictments, they're ready, they're going, they're going to wipe out our entire government, the entire cabal is going to be arrested. And then he tied it to the secret space program. So I will be like, I'll have to eat my hat, my little baseball cap that I showed you guys the other day, if they actually do it. If somebody actually rounds up 40,000 of the top level elites and locks them up somewhere and puts in who? Like, who's going to replace them? Are they going to be good people, compassionate people, kind people, generous people? See, the problem with revolutions is every time there has been one, the immediate period afterwards is very painful because usually the military takes over,
Creates
you
a
know,
vacuum.
and creates a vacuum. And nobody wants to live under tyrannical military rule, which usually replaces a despotic, bad government. So somehow we got to do it differently. Somehow we got to inch or push these baddies out and get the good people in. We need good people, basically.
I
And
personally think with all the sealed, actually they're not all indictments. That's one thing that people always say, sealed indictments, you know, because they're just sealed court documents, and it could be for, you know, getting a wiretap or something like that, and it's usually only like 20 to 30% of the sealed records are actually indictments, but they can use them for leverage too. So it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to round everybody up and arrest them. It could mean that, you know, some of the lower level people, if they can get them to roll over, testify for some of the higher level people, that they might not have to just get rid of everyone. You know what I mean? Because they can use some people as witnesses, you know, for immunity and things like that. So there's so many different ways it can go. But yeah, if they were to just arrest everybody, that's crazy to imagine that many people, because that's 40,000
that's
people.
supposed to be the space,
I don't know.
secret space program way to do it. They're just going to boom.
I've heard
Top-downing.
they've been expanding Guantanamo Bay and stuff like that, and renovating it and doing all this and expanding a few other
Benjamin
places.
Fulford used to talk about this for years before. Oh, and that other guy. I can't remember his name. Steve Pozniak?
Mhm.
Yeah, these were the guys who were talking about this for years before it became Q and David Wilcock and Destroying the Illusion. That's like the new generation.
Right.
But I don't know.
That
I
new
don't
movie,
know.
have you seen the new movie, Above Majestic, yet?
No, have you seen it?
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Is it good? Is
Yeah,
it
it's
on
not all
YouTube?
Q either. I mean, I know a lot of people probably are like, I've heard enough of Q. I don't want to watch it. But
That's
yeah,
why
they
I didn't.
actually go back and they really go through history, and it's a big red pill movie. You know what I mean? Even if you
Cool.
don't
Is it
like the
about the
Q part,
original Majestic 12 that basically shut down any information on UFOs and aliens after Roswell?
it's just a comprehensive. You know, there's not really one specific thing. It's just sort of the going truth about everything. So
Oh, God.
yeah, they just touch on everything. You know what I mean? It's got that
Kind of like
FBI
we do.
agent. I can't think of his name, but it's got a lot of great people in there, though.
I'm going to definitely see it. Yeah, I want to see that for sure. Is it on YouTube? You rent it on YouTube?
Uh, I I know it's on Amazon. I hate
Okay.
saying Amazon because some people just I don't know
Do you have to pay for it?
they
I
get they
know,
get
but there's no
triggered.
other. I know.
And I'm like, well, that's just where it is. You know what I mean?
It's
It's
just
like
where it
people
is.
are like that about Walmart. People are like that about People are like that about every single place you can go spend
Everything.
money
People are
because
that way about Trump. People are that way about Clinton.
yeah, it's just what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? You
I
gotta
know. It's like this is the reality that we're dealing with as we look to get out of it. But
right.
unfortunately, we still have to use Amazon and Walmart occasionally,
And
you know.
iTunes. I think iTunes is another place you can get it if you have an Apple device.
Okay.
You can. I think it's
I
number
do.
one on there actually.
I don't have it, but you know, I've got family with iTunes and Apples and all that kind of stuff.
All right. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I secretly go to Amazon sometimes.
Yeah, me too. Especially at Christmas. I know that sounds terrible, doesn't it? But they ship for free.
You're just making them matter. I'm just
I'm
kidding.
sorry. I'm just honest. I could sit here and lie to you guys and go, I never use Amazon. I never go to Walmart.
No, we can say we use it, but we don't promote them. So please don't
No,
use
we
them.
don't. We don't promote them or Starbucks or anybody else we want to mention.
Walmart's a bad one though. I think in Georgia it was really bad because everybody
I
would be
try
like,
to avoid it.
Do you know how many businesses they put out and stuff?" And I'm like, it's kind of convenient. You go one place, they've got everything that all the small businesses have. You
Yep.
can just cut your
Cheap,
and
cheap,
it's
cheap, cheap,
cheaper.
cheap.
Yeah,
Everything from China. So there's no jobs here because we're getting it all from China. And then you find out it's full of lead and
yeah,
it catches fire. And it's like if your kid licks the toy, they get lead poisoning. And you're like, wow, did it really help us to
yeah,
start buying stuff cheap?
yeah.
Yeah.
Same way with the hardware stores and like Lowe's and Home Depot and places like that, you know.
Oh yeah, I remember the old. I don't know.
I
I'm
miss them
very.
though. You go in there and it's got this old guy in there that's knowledgeable about all this stuff, and you have a
Oh,
nice little,
Ace still does. Apparently, has
yeah,
the old hardware man in there, or woman.
yeah. So yeah, if one's next to me, I'll go there instead. You know, the neighborhood hardware store. There's just not anymore. It seems
Like
like.
Bruce Lipton said, baby steps. We're baby stepping our way into new earth. We're getting there. We're getting there, inch by inch by inch.
Totally.
Well, what about the meditation? You
Yeah.
want to talk a little bit more about what should be in it? And we're not doing disclosure. We've done disclosure. I mean, we can revisit stuff. We're not doing truth. We've done that.
I think just raising, because you know that's sort of the frequency or raising.
Consciousness?
Yeah. So I guess you know whatever we need to do to help us along that way. I know like some people might need to change up maybe diet habits
Yeah, I sure do.
or different things like that. But you know, not
Exercise.
in a judgmental way, you guys. I'm just saying that
Not in a judgmental
if we
way.
need to make changes, that will be assisted and will be cued in on the fact that maybe we do need to make those changes. Whether it's maybe go vegan or maybe just start small and you know stop with chocolate or sugar or so you know whatever is really going to
Whatever it is.
benefit the person the best. So really, we're speaking it more like in concert with your higher self.
Yeah,
What?
raising our consciousness so
What?
our higher self has
Yeah.
more control over what we do and how
And
we
to let us
develop.
know. So, and to let everyone know, you know, that people will just have the urge to make the changes that will best suit them on whatever their journey is. And we're not saying what that is. We're saying that, you know,
It's
that's
up to
really,
you.
yeah, that's really up to you and your higher self or God or whatever you want to call
I
it.
set my big goal was to be more patient. And I am certainly a heck of a lot more patient now than I was last year or the year before or the year before that. So I think just by stating it frequently and saying that is my goal, it just kind of comes about, you know?
Yeah, for me, it was I started small with water. I'm like, okay, I just want to switch to water, cut soda out, you know, because I know it's got lots of sugar and
Hmm.
it's not very good for hydrating you or whatever. So I think just start with whatever you feel like, you know, whatever you feel like you can start with that's easy or whatever, because it might not be as clear as a voice
Mine was
saying,
hard. It was patience. I
yeah,
was totally lacking patience.
yeah.
For about 10 years, I was really not patient enough.
And I've thought mine was patience too, but I've realized it's people being inconsiderate that triggers me. You know, because I thought it was in traffic. A lot of times it's in traffic. You know, it'd be like something in traffic happens, but it really wasn't that I was impatient. It was that the person was being inconsiderate. You know, maybe they didn't turn on their blinker or something stupid that you know shouldn't bother me. But it was more like they're just, or like you're in the store shopping and somebody's like blocking the aisle and they notice you coming, but they don't move their cart out of the way and they just kind of like, they can go around. Just really inconsiderate type of
That would
people.
trigger you.
It
That
triggers me. Yeah,
inconsiderate would
it still
trigger you.
does
And you go,
sometimes. I got to
"Ah."
catch myself. It's like, okay, don't, you know, and then, you know, a quick,
This
a
is so
real,
hard to admit, but you know what really triggered me was people close to me getting really whiny. Like if you're talking to somebody or you're feeling a little bit annoyed and they go, "Wah," and they really, I would just, vroom, that would just trigger me. I couldn't handle other people's over emotional protests. And I'm like,
yeah,
what a stupid thing to get triggered about, right? You should just sit there and watch them and laugh and go, okay, well, when you're done, I'll carry on. Instead of going, like a volcano because people around you are,
yeah.
complaining, whining. Um, I don't know. I don't know why that
Oh, another
triggered
one
me.
was, you know, when people don't tip my wife, you know, and she's like, oh, they left such a big mess. I'm like, you've got to stop telling me these stories because I get triggered every time because I feel bad for you, but it like I want to go like choke them and stuff for making this huge mess, running you all over the place, and
And
then
no tip.
stealing from you. Basically, is how I look at it. Because if you go into a restaurant that you know they're making $2 and something an hour, then
That's
you're
another thing we have to change.
yeah.
Nobody should be making $2 an hour. You should make minimum wage at least or more,
They would if
and
people
then
would
make
tip.
tips.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
keep your tips as well.
yeah.
None of this $2 an hour nonsense because people are tipping you. Phew, when did we let that one go through?
Yeah.
In my state now, there's no time off legally. You can go to work at 8 and you can leave at 6, and legally they don't have to give you 15-minute break.
Wow.
When did that slip through? I'm sure nobody noticed it, or they would have like not agreed, right?
Another one that I'm glad you brought that up, because these could be Mandela effects. I'm not just saying
I kind of
that,
feel
but
like they are.
there was one where I think she said she had to work on Thanksgiving. I'm like, oh, you get double time, huh? And like,
Uh,
I'm like, well, don't they? They're required to pay you double time on certain
uh,
holidays. And then we looked it up.
nope.
And it's like, if they do, you're lucky, but they're not required to. And I'm like, they were required. Maybe. And then I thought, well, maybe it's because I was in a
They
union
were
job.
required. It was time and a half or double time on holidays, and time and a half anything over 40 hours a
Yeah,
week.
if it was like
That was law,
if it was like
employment law.
a government recognized holiday like Christmas
Yeah,
or Thanksgiving,
yeah.
or it was like, to me
I
it
remember
was.
that. I remember that. And all that's gone now. And now the company can decide if they give you any paid time off. So my daughter was lucky to get 2 weeks paid after 2 years of service. What kind of treatment is that?
And everyone
You
was
know?
required to work on Thanksgiving at my wife's job. So
Yeah, yeah, mine too.
yeah,
So I don't know, are these Mandela effects, or did they just like sneak those by us when we
yeah.
weren't paying
I haven't
attention?
looked at the history. Yeah, I would need to investigate the history for.
Okay, I got a Mandela question for you.
Okay.
My mom was an artist, and one of her favorite colors was chartreuse. I didn't come up with this. Other people have got this
I,
Mandela effect this week.
I've heard about this one.
And one of her favorite colors was chartreuse, which was red and pink, fluorescent, really bright, 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 reddy pink, pinky red,
Hot
reddy
pink
pink,
almost. Yeah.
hot pink, but with red in it,
Yeah.
red undertones. And now chartreuse, which is a very French name, right? Chartreuse is lime green, hot, hot, hot lime green. So you're an artist. What is chartreuse? What do you remember?
I don't know. I can't say.
Do you remember chartreuse? Do you remember
I
ever going
remember the
over?
name, and I remember looking at this Mandela effect early on and being like, I don't know. I can't
Do you have a
say.
dual memory or no memory? Just
No,
nothing
just no
there.
memory. Yeah.
Darn.
I mean, I remember the word, but not the color. You
I
know.
need to ask people because I have a vivid memory of my mom's chartreuse. Now, she could have gotten it wrong. Maybe it always was lime green, but to my mom, it was like hot red pink. But then everybody on the internet is like, no, it's red, or no, it's pink, you know?
Yeah. But now
So
it's
I'm in
green,
good.
right? It's like
And now it's bright, bright lime green,
yeah.
right between yellow and green.
That's weird, because if it was something like teal or mauve, or what is that one that's more of a burgundy
Oh,
pink,
yeah, mauve,
mauve,
which is
mauve.
mauve in England.
Yeah.
In the UK, they say mauve. That's a pretty
Now, if that
similar,
switched green, I would know. I'd be like, no, I remember that being sort of a
kind of a muddy
pinkish.
cream,
Yeah, almost
pinky,
like the
pinky
flower
brown.
behind you is sort of a mauvish color.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, pinky brown.
yeah. So yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those colors that I didn't pay attention to the crayons at that. Yeah, have you noticed the names of the colors on crayons are really different from when we were kids? That could be
Yeah,
something
they used to be
new.
red, green, blue, and yellow.
But now there's stuff like
Purple.
bubble gum and I don't know colors I don't remember. I
Uh,
think
uh, uh.
nude instead of skin. They're
Yeah,
just
and I looked it up, and on Crayola, it said chartreuse has been lime green since 1972. They introduced the chartreuse crayon. I'm like, what? On what planet
yeah,
did kids play with chartreuse crayons instead of green and red and
yeah,
yellow?
yeah. That's crazy.
It's kind of funny. It's very interesting.
Let me see if anybody. Let's see.
Any red chartreuses out there, or is it just me tonight?
Oh, somebody was, let's see, surroundaholic. People always confuse, I'm assuming chartreuse with fuchsia, which is
Now,
pinkish red,
fuchsia I know is hot pink.
which is pinky reddish.
I thought fuchsia's definitely pink. I always thought chartreuse was reddy pink. But maybe I am. Maybe there's a lot of people who think chartreuse is red pink.
Yeah, other people are saying it's lime green to them. Lime
Wow.
green. Jane says, I remember hot pink. So yeah, we've got a mixture of people. A lime greenish yellow for Go-Kart Bob. Jody says reddish pink. So yeah,
Mine's reddish pink, and
it's a
fuchsia
mixture.
is hot pink.
I
Like,
can't be for sure, so I would stay out of that one. I mean, I would lean towards the pink, but it's just more of a feeling than a memory. So
Well, you know what's good? To know that we don't all remember the same things anyway, even if they're not Mandela affected.
yeah,
So maybe memory is as individual as personality. And then if that determines the collective environment, oh my God, we're going to have strange things happening. Maybe the only change is that our minds are and our hearts are ever more powerful at impacting the collective. So
hmm
we're seeing all these things pop up everywhere because we're powerful beings, you know?
yeah,
I don't know. It could be something that simple. No timelines, no dimensions, just powerful, co-creative, subconscious or conscious.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting times that we live in. That's for sure. You
Do
know.
you know when you die or before you die, all you have is your memories. That's all you're going to take with you, right? That's it. You're not going to take any proof with you in the form of photographs, family movies, testimonials. So if everybody's memory is that individual and different, like two people can see the same thing and come away and tell a totally different story, then why wouldn't the environment around us reflect all these different memories of life? Like instead of waiting until you have no body to only have your memories, we've got our memories now and they're like spread out in front of us and they're being challenged. Our memories are being challenged.
Yeah, that's totally true. That's neat. It really shows that our reality is really subjective. You know.
Totally subjective.
Mm,
I guess that's why some people go, "Oh God, we died. We died in 2012."
yeah.
Because if you were just like floating out there with just your memories, this is kind of like how you would feel when people go, "Chartreuse is green," and you're like, "No, chartreuse is red."
Yeah.
Out there, when you have no proof, right?
Yeah. Let's see.
And if we are dead, this is a great way to be dead, right? It's wonderful. It's just like being alive.
Yeah, I said that once before. Rita's saying, "Dad, what?" Yeah, that's and I remember sitting in a light once, right after the Mandela Effect. I'm sitting there, and I thought of everything I felt at that point, and I was like, "What if I died?" And it just hit me, and I was like, "Well, that's kind of a silly question or a silly way to look at it because if the definition of dead, I'm clearly not dead, but
Uh,
you have to consider."
Clearly.
I mean, maybe I'm dead to everyone else, but to me, I'm still here thinking about whether I'm dead or not. But yeah, it did cross my mind. But
I find this very funny because there's no way you could prove it. You can't prove you're alive and you can't prove you're dead. If all around you are other dead people, they won't know either.
yeah, yeah, it's a trip. But
It
the
is a
fact
trip.
that everyone
It is a
has
trip.
so many different memories that it seems like, well, with this issue, I'm from this timeline, and with this issue, I'm from this timeline, and well, because you want to feel like you're from my timeline, right? You're from way out on the Sagittarius arm, right? And they're like, yeah. And you're like, so you do remember Fruit Loops
And you're
being?
like,
You're like,
no, I don't
no, I
remember
don't.
that.
No, that wasn't like that. Well, the thinker, like, no. What about the
And you're like,
Volkswagen? They're like, yeah,
you're not
that. You're like,
my timeline, you liar. Away
right.
with you. Go to your own timeline.
Wasn't it's such in our just the way we are to want to just divide and to group and clump and
Or to
to
group to
yeah.
find company.
Where's my family? Where's
Where's
my
my
timeline
family?
people?
Yeah, I did a video this week on are we shifting into different timelines? Or are we all in one big fat timeline that's very shifty? Very shifty, keeps moving around and changing on us,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Kind of
But
like
then,
the whole double slit experiment where everything's
yeah,
waves of possibility. It's like we're in
waves of
this
possibility.
ocean timeline where anything's possible, and that's
Anything's possible. But then, why is it different for you, Shane, and different for me, and different for Jose, and different for April, and different for Metal Rabbit?
yeah.
Everybody has their own version of here.
Because they collapsed the wave function a certain way when they observed it.
That's very shifty.
Yeah,
That's very shifty because that means we might never see eye to eye on stuff.
yeah. And technically, what's behind me right now isn't even really there. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
love
Until
that
I
theory.
turn around
And
and look.
Metal Rabbit, she either made a comment or an email, and she said, she's so smart. Everybody is in this group. And, in general, I'm not being like, egotistical about our little group. she said, I think what's happening is that humans are collapsing the wave function differently now. We're not just collapsing, that's reality, collapsing, that's reality. The actual collapse is like a little wonky, a little bit. Is it collapsed or not? Is it reality or not? You know, she thinks there's a consciousness change in humanity, not quite collapsing reality in a normal fashion like we always have before.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody would understand that unless they read quantum physics and understood how particles come from waves.
Yeah. Just don't know. You know, we're all collapsing it our own way in our own time, and
we want company.
Yeah.
We want company in our little bubbles.
It seems like an individual thing, you know, for everybody.
Maybe that's the whole definition of community. Maybe as soon as you find like-minded or like emotional people, you group together. You know, you're like, okay, this is where I fit in because they're kind of like me.
Yeah. I just don't want to see the Mandela Effect community break off into sub-factions, you know.
Oh, I think it's going to, because there's some negative Mandela Effect people out there, and I think they're going to go off on their own. And then there's these positive Mandela Effect people like us, and I think we're going to wind up having a nice big group that is going to be its own thing. I can kind of see whatever happens to humanity is kind of happening within the Mandela Effect community, don't you think?
Yeah. And it's just, it sort of naturally happens because I don't really view the negative ones. I don't feel like I'm like not including them in my group or anything, but they don't want to come over. They're like, no, you're too excited and happy about what's happening. This is bad. This is Satan. And
yeah, we've got fearful, we've got angry, we've got neutral. A lot of neutral people in our group, I've noticed, like Go-Kart Bob, and there's a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got positive, right? Really positive, loving, caring, compassionate people. But I guess I see three groups emerging within the community: angry, fearful, or neutral and positive hanging out together. Because we don't upset the neutral people, right? And the neutral people don't upset the positive people.
Right. And for me, it's been a subjective thing with just the way I'm viewing it, that I always tell people, I'm like, as soon as I started viewing it as a positive thing, it became positive for me. I'm not really pushing that. I just say, just try it for a second. You know, if you're looking at it as a negative thing, just try to see it as a positive thing, because for me, it's brought all of us together in these groups, and I can't view it as a negative thing anymore.
I can't view it as a negative thing either.
You know, I can view it neutral, but I can't view it as a negative thing, you know.
But do you think that, maybe I'm wrong, maybe not, do you think that positive people before the Mandela Effect view it positively, and neutral people before the Mandela Effect view it neutrally, and kind of angry or fearful people before the ME view it that way? Do you think we take our personalities to the Mandela Effect?
I think they definitely play a huge part in it. Because even though I've always sort of been an optimistic person, just before I kind of got into a real pessimistic, you know, my dark night of the soul.
So did I.
Yeah. And then I sort of tried to pull myself out by starting the channel. And then I rediscovered the Mandela Effect and realized it was true. So it wasn't, you know, the channel wasn't started because of the Mandela Effect, but immediately after I started it and everything was in place, which I don't think I would have been able to do because I would have been too busy researching and not talking about it on my channel. So everything just lined up perfectly that, you know, it was really synchronistic, you know, the way everything.
Did this happen to anybody else out there? Because Shane and I, that's what we share in common, is that I've always been accused of being overly optimistic. And then I went through a very dark period where I thought humanity wasn't worth saving, the earth wasn't worth saving. And then I found the Mandela Effect. And it actually, I found A Course in Miracles, which made me understand unity consciousness. And then, boom, as soon as I understood unity consciousness, the Mandela Effect presented itself to me.
That's interesting.
So I went through the same process as anybody else in our community here. Did they go through that dark period where they really felt like, God, life sucks, people suck, the planet sucks, you know?
Yeah, I was actually got to the point where I'm like, come on, Nibiru, you know, just come on through, like, take us out, let's start all over.
We're here.
We're not worth saving if we're going to leave people on the planet. You know, I was still like, I don't know,
I was like, life reset. We need a life reset.
We need a reset, and I'm willing to sacrifice for the greater good of getting all the tormented people out of here together. So
Unless you think of your own children who are wonderful, and then you're like, okay, maybe not. And your grandkids, in your case.
well, I
So
got into where it was so
what we
futile
have
for
in
me.
common.
Yeah, I wonder how many other people work. But you know, most of my life I was a optimistic person, glass
Me
half
too.
full, and
Silly
could
optimistic.
be
People say,
worse. You know, that kind of a guy.
rose-colored glasses, everything's okay with you. And I'm like, it's just the way it is,
Yeah.
That's interesting. Other people are also questioning. Sorry, whoever said, did we die? If something happened to everyone around 2012, 2013, I was hit by a car standing on a sidewalk at high speed, and I just like, whoop, miraculously, nothing broken. So there are a lot of us that had an
Like
incident.
Suso too. Yeah.
Yeah, like Suso too.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, how many musicians are in this group? Artists, poets, people who study philosophy, you know, um, really, really esoteric people seem to be being affected by the Mandela Effect. Creatives.
That's interesting because I just started watching this thing. You know, we talked about the whole idea of NPCs and how we need to treat everybody equally or whatever because you never know. But that was one of the things that was saying how you can recognize one is that they don't question authority. They sort of just go with the crowd. They're not truth seekers. They take
They lack creativity.
right. But the other thing they were saying is you can't judge them because even if you discover someone's an NPC, they can have a walk-in take place at any time and be inhabited by a soul. So it was sort of this idea of these soulless ones that are just ran by the system. And at any time, someone that's really there with a soul might get taken away and leave the matrix running it. So you just never know with it's constantly changing. And it was sort of that idea we were talking about, you know. But
Or are they sleepwalking, and then something shakes them awake and they make contact with their higher self?
and
And
then
they're
that
like,
was the other
wow,
thing. It was like some people
yeah,
incarnate here to experience the asleepness of this reality. And it's not their job to wake up. They don't want to wake up. They want to experience
yeah, I
wandering around
noticed
with the
that.
blindfolders on. So they
I
still
don't
got a
try to wake
soul.
people up anymore.
Yeah.
Some of them, they get really angry. They get very angry and defensive if you force them to wake up to reality.
Yeah. So it's interesting because even though you have all that information, you can't ever know for sure. So that's why everybody has to be treated with love and respect and dignity and all those good things.
Now,
Whether,
somebody
you
asked
know,
me on a comment on my NPC video, they went, not being mean or anything, do you play video games? And I'm like, no, I don't. And they're like, see? You don't understand the NPC, because I'm one of those people who go, all life is precious, all life is God, everything counts, even the cockroach. Don't step on the cockroaches. If you can get rid of them in a safer way besides killing them, try to do that first. And it was a really honest comment. Do you play games? No, I don't play video games. Never really did. Well, then you don't understand NPC. You don't know what you don't understand the definition.
right. But it was, the same thing with my daughter. She was playing The Sims and she was trying to get rid of one of the characters that was an NPC, and she built a wall around it, and like where he couldn't get out and go to the bathroom or get anything to eat. And she's like, "Yeah, I'm waiting for this guy to die." She's like, "I'm waiting for this guy to die." I'm like, "Dude, that's so morbid." That she's like, "It's not a real person." I'm like,
Yeah, but
"It
I
just,
totally got the question, and it was put to me in a really kind way.
yeah,
And then I thought, maybe that's why I don't see NPCs, also because maybe the video gaming culture is training our children, entire generations, to not care, to not have compassion for anybody except the player. Everybody else can be killed. Everybody else can be disposed of except for them. That's interesting.
I always just have that thought in the back of my mind. What if they don't know they're not real? I mean, they play their parts
Ah,
well or whatever. They might, just like that show, The Westworld. I didn't watch it, but I saw enough of it to
I
know
saw
that
one season.
the
Don't watch
characters
anymore.
inside of it didn't realize they weren't real.
No,
They felt the pain, they felt the
that's
sorrow,
such
and
a good show, but I can't watch it. It's too bloody, too violent for me because I
yeah,
get very emotional. I get very upset.
yeah. Just the
But
idea of people
good
trying to
show,
think of
good
anything
concept.
you would want to do, sort of like The Purge. You've got this
Yeah,
guy
it's
to
like
do
you
the
could go into this fake world with androids and you could do anything you wanted, rape, murder, kill, orgies, whatever, because they're not real people.
right, but they
But
don't know.
then the people being abused didn't know they weren't real. They were programmed to act like humans, so they thought they were real.
So on a
So in
philosophical, from a a philosophical point of view,
yeah,
isn't it still wrong if they don't realize they're not
yeah,
real to treat them like they're
they were
nothing?
suffering. The androids were suffering.
But were they programmed to look like they were suffering? Because that's what an NPC is. It's really
At that point, it
programmed.
doesn't matter because suffering is suffering. So if the android thinks it's suffering, you kind of have a duty to help if you can, if you're in service to others.
Right, and
That
I
like,
totally agree with you
yeah,
there.
you just
I
like
totally
I
agree,
would have gone in that game and busted down that wall and go, "Run, little Sims, you're free, run!"
yeah, but at the same time, I understand how there's no way like an AI would have emotions. I mean, it could pretend, it could be programmed to look like it gets angry.
Oh, we think.
Right.
But what if the AI is a different version of soul?
That gets
Because
conscious.
everything here is God. Everything here belongs to God. And if it's here, God made it, God approves of it. So what if the AI evolved to have a soul and feelings? Real life form.
Which is why I say that you should treat everybody good, even if they are ran by the Matrix. What if somebody walks in at that moment and takes a soul, inhabits that vessel at that moment that you're being mean or treating it a certain way? Or, you just never know. So you just have to treat everybody the same. But I
And
understand,
I'm such the wrong person to talk about this stuff, even though I do talk about it, because I used to cry when they killed the robots in movies. And
right.
robots are always getting killed in all those sci-fi movies, and that really upset me.
Yeah.
You too?
Well, I remember being a little kid. My mom would have me clean up, and I'd feel so bad about little pieces of fuzz on the carpet, vacuuming them up and stuff. They were clearly not real. You know what I mean? But they were cute little fuzzy balls, and I'm like,
Um,
I just felt like everything deserved to stick around, but it was made my carpet dirty, so I had to.
Supposedly that's unity consciousness. Unity consciousness sees everything alive: the stick, the rock, the
Yeah,
insect,
and I
the
remember,
fuzz. The fuzz
yeah, the
is part
fuzz
of
clearly just
God.
yeah. That's how I was as a kid, man. I would really feel sad about it, and yeah, so
So I came here feeling that way too, where everything was precious, and it's not been easy, but it's been okay. I can't complain. You
hmm
know, I can't say that I've ever been a victim
yeah.
because I love everything and everyone. You know,
But I did grow out of that. I'm okay with
you're okay with
vacuuming up.
fuzz now.
Yeah, lint balls and stuff are fine to suck them up. But yeah,
Wouldn't
I
that
was
be
real
terrible?
little. I was
You're
like
cleaning the
5 or
toilet,
something.
going, "Oh no, mold!" or the bathtub, mold. It's alive. I can't kill this mold.
That's funny. No, I guess gross stuff. I was like, yeah, gross. Get rid of that. But a
I know.
fuzzball's kind of cute.
They are kind
Little
of cute.
piece of lint or something.
My dad used to say he grew them out of his belly button, but that's another story.
Oh my god, that's
He had
hilarious.
fuzz babies, so they were very precious in our house. Okay, so let me refresh before I do the meditation. Okay, so we're going to do it on connecting with our higher selves,
Raising
expansion of
intention
consciousness,
for the
and
group.
whatever we need to help us through that process of connecting and expanding our awareness, we're going to ask that come to us as a group,
Yeah,
individual,
that's
and
the
then give
world
it
to
to
the
the whole
world.
world.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
give it to the whole world.
Yeah, because basically we're all on our journey, even if we're completely asleep right now or an
Okay. Well,
NPC.
that's true. I could be very asleep right now, but I don't care anymore. I don't care if I'm awake or I'm asleep. This is a good place and I'm having a good time and this is an interesting experience. So I
Totally.
have to say I'm not complaining.
All right, let me make some adjustments
And
here.
now we're really going to have to do the meditation because if we talk for another half an hour, I'm going to forget again.
Okay, okay.
Okay. So I'm going to just get rid of my screen here. And then
Perfect.
I'm going to pull the computer closer if you hear scraping,
Okay.
in case my voice gets quiet while we're meditating. Okay, so we're going to start, as we always do, with the Power of Eight, kind of our version of the Lynne McTaggart Powering Up. And we're going to just get comfortable, scooch around and get really comfy for at least 10 to 15 minutes. We'll be doing this. And take a nice, deep, cleansing breath in, hold it for just a few moments. And when you exhale it, exhale out any negativity you feel or sense around you. Take another Nice cleansing breath in. Hold it. And this time exhale any tension in your body, wherever that might be, or maybe not. Maybe you don't have tension. Exhale out any tension. And the third deep breath in. Hold it for a few moments. And just exhale out any sad feelings. If you've had any sad feelings this week at all, exhale them out of your body. And now we're going to begin to breathe normally. And as we do, we're going to imagine that we're breathing in through the heart and out of the heart. And as you breathe in through the heart chakra, imagine a beautiful, clear, clean light of any color of your choosing coming in with that breath, and exhale that light out of your heart chakra with that breath. Breathing a healing light in through your heart and exhaling it out of your heart. And now as you draw in that breath and that healing light into your heart chakra, on the exhale, you're going to fill a bubble or a cocoon of light all around you. Breathing that light in and exhaling it out at whatever pace is comfortable for you. And fill that color over the top of your head and around your face and the back of your head. Let it swirl around your shoulders and around your torso, going under you and around your legs, and eventually going under your feet. Breathing that light in and exhaling it out. And before we expand that light any further, we're going to send a grounding cord down from our root chakra all the way into the center of the earth. And when it reaches the center of the earth, that grounding cord of light is going to spread out in all directions, firmly rooting you to earth like a tree. Breathing that light in and exhaling it out. And before we start on tonight's topic, just imagine a wonderful, happy time in your life. Maybe it was Christmas time, maybe it was Hanukkah or the Festival of Lights, depending on your religion and where you are in the world. Maybe it's that season, that time of being around family and getting together with family that maybe you don't see all the time or talk to. Maybe it was putting on a Christmas for children or being a child and experiencing some of your first holidays with your family, which were very, very magical. Just imagine a beautiful time in your life. And now we're going to concentrate on our individual personal connection to our higher self. Some people call that the super consciousness, and some people call it the oversoul, which is much larger than what we want to think about right now. We just want to think about our higher self, the part of us that is still us, but resides somewhere out there, outside of this body and outside of this world that we call Earth, whether it's round or flat, globe, half globe, doesn't matter. And right now, we're just going to ask our higher self, do you have any information for me that would help me on my journey here on Earth right now? Is there anything that I could be doing differently? Or anything that would improve me raising my awareness, me raising my personal frequency or vibration so that I can ascend or evolve into a higher state on Earth or off of Earth, in New Earth, in 5D Earth, maybe somewhere entirely differently. And see if you get any synchronicities during the week that kind of draw your attention to something you could be doing differently, or something you could be spending more time on, paying more attention to. It could be a dietary change. It could be a sleep pattern change. It could be a change of exercise. It could be reaching out to a friend or a family member that you haven't spoken to because there were some sad words or heated words exchanged years ago. Something like that. Something that would actually not only feel good, but would be actually good for you. And we're going to ask that our awareness expands only at a pace that's comfortable for each one of us as an individual, so that we're not pushed too far and stretched too thin in terms of all of these reality changes and our ability to see what reality really is and is not, so that we don't have to feel frightened, angry, or a victim, so that we can kind of go with the expansion comfortably at a pace that really works for each one of us, and respect the fact that that pace of awakening and awareness is going to be different for every single person we know. And maybe we can stop judging people harshly if we feel they're not awake, if they don't see the same thing we see or feel the same things we feel. Maybe we can stop judging, step back, and let them develop, expand, and evolve at their own comfortable pace. And now let's ask that God or source energy help us to expand our consciousness and increase our vibrations and our frequencies in a way that is completely healthy and positive for us and all concerned, for our family members, for people that love us, so that they can adjust to our changes and they can adjust to our personal evolutions. And now let's just imagine this bubble of light that you've created, which is so healing and so clear and so clean. Just let that bubble of light expand all over your home so that all of your loved ones can grow at a pace that is healthy and good for them. And if you like, you can stop there. But if you like, you can let that bubble of light expand all over your community so that you're sending out this loving, healing light with the request that all people who are expanding their awareness, coming into deeper connections with their higher selves, coming into closer contact with God and source energy, so that they too get what they need to help them along their way. And that they too get to develop and expand their awareness at a pace that is good for them and good for all concerned around them. And finally, if you're up for it, see that energy that you've created expand. See it quickly cover the entire world, all of Earth, however you view Earth, flat, round, whatever shape. See that crystal clear, clean light surround all of Earth so that all people who wish to evolve and wish to expand their consciousness can do so now in a way that is comfortable, in a way that others can adjust to around them, in a way that makes them feel good, that's healthy for their minds, healthy for their emotions, and healthy for their physical bodies here on Earth. And just let that love light surround Earth, and realize that people who do not wish to expand their consciousness, we just have to accept that and love them too, and not judge them. Just allow them to be them and ask that they allow you to be you. And when you're ready, just take some normal breaths and move your shoulders around, up, down, around. Move your neck a bit. And when you're ready, open your eyes. And if you feel a little bit lightheaded after meditating, when you're comfortable to get up, do so and get a nice, cool glass of clean water. That's very grounding and very centering. It kind of brings you back. And release your grounding cord where it disappears in the center of the earth. Good, I'm back. I could use some water now. I ran out. I was actually drinking green tea with natural peach and other flavors.
Yeah, that water was refreshing. And the sound, I've noticed, is better moving it closer to you when you do it. Have you noticed
Oh,
that?
good. Yeah, I just take the computer and I put my little face over it because I think I go a bit quiet.
That's probably what it is.
Yep. And plus I've got like air conditioning on, believe it or not. I'm trying to keep it at 70 degrees in here and the air conditioning's on. I'm not bragging. But you know what? If it gets really, really hot, I might be like, skedaddling up north where I can get a bit of snow to cool off.
Yeah, we got the heater on here. So
I miss snow. I love snow.
you don't miss the dry skin and the driving conditions. And
No, I don't miss, like I never had a garage, scraping the ice off so I can drive. Or not being able to get my key in the lock.
yeah, I've got a tiny garage, but I sure do use it.
Good, good. Yeah, we always had junk in our garage. Our garage was always, when I was growing up in the Chicagoland area, always so full of stuff we could never put our car in.
I'm so glad this place has one of those little sheds in the back, so I put the lawnmower and everything in there because the front of our garage has our washer and dryer in it, so we couldn't.
Yeah,
Really
we could have
put
done a
anything.
shed, but boy, we had a lot of stuff because my dad was a tinkerer. You know, a tinkerer?
Oh yeah,
Constantly tinkering and building. I mean, he built the whole house with his own hands and then called in like a plumber and an electrician. So that's pretty amazing that you could build a 5-bedroom house on your own.
yeah, yeah. My brother and I did that with a complete remodel and redid everything, and the
Really?
the carpet
That's an old
people and the
skill.
heating and air is the only thing that we subbed out. In the driveway, we had the asphalt guys come and do the driveway,
Yep,
but
him too. And he said the best drywall in the house was in the upstairs closet because by the time he'd done the whole house, he knew what he was doing with drywall.
yeah, yeah, we had a lot of fun together. It took us like a year to do it. But
It took him several years. He was renting in Chicago. I think it was like 1957, I think. And every now and then we just drive by and the house is still there.
hasn't caved in, so I guess he did a good job, huh?
It has the same banging screen door and it has the same oven from my childhood from like 1965. That's pretty scary. But that was like 5 years ago when we walked through it. I think I told this story once. We were just standing in the front lawn taking pictures of it. And this lady came out and goes, "Excuse me, why are you taking pictures of my house?" And we went, "Oh, so sorry. Our dad built it and he's not here anymore. He passed on." And she went, "Come in. I'll give you a tour."
That's cool though. That's awesome.
I stood in my little bedroom and like our upstairs was in the roof. So there was a wall, like a ceiling like this and a ceiling like that and a ceiling like that. It was really strange.
Yeah, that's how ours was too. They called it a dormer because it was really like
Yeah,
an attic, and then they
yeah.
yeah.
And then one side of the house went down so it looked like a one-story house and the back of it went flat so you could see both stories. It was really
That's
That's how they built
interesting.
them, I guess, in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Our house was really similar. That it was really like a one story that they made part of the upstairs, put a dormer
Into
on
a
it.
two-story.
Yep, and then the back side of the house, we vaulted the ceiling in the kitchen and the bedroom to make it really tall ceilings and put skylights in it and everything. And
Oh, nice.
yeah,
I used to sneak out my bedroom and sit on like angled parts of the roof.
yeah,
And
we
just
did
kind
the
of look
same
at the
thing.
stars, as you do when you're like 8 years old. If my mom knew, right?
Oh gosh.
It was safe though. I felt like it was safe. It was shingle on bare foot. That's very grippy.
Yeah, totally.
And
Yeah,
yes, we did sneak out and go meet other friends in the neighborhood when we were like
climb up and
12?
down the lattice until you got too heavy for
Yeah.
it and ripped it off. You're like, oh no, I'm busted now.
I didn't even have any lattices and the to climb, and the gutters were not, you know, you did not want to hang from those. So I just like jumped 1 story from my window. I guess you would hang from your window and then it wouldn't be so far down, right?
That's interesting. Yeah. Similar. Yeah, I was checking ours out on Google Street View and Google, you know, satellite view and stuff. I'm like, oh, they put a new roof on it because it used to be a red shingle roof and now it's black. And so, but yeah, it's cool to go around and
We
visit
kind of had
places.
gray shingle. It was gray. Yeah.
That's
Which is
cool.
really popular. It's always nice, though, isn't it, to go back and look on Google Earth and see what you can see. I drove past a googly car, and it had one of those cameras on it with like lenses in all directions, and I'm going, so they're, you know, like that, looking through the window. So I hope they blurred it out.
It's really cool because you can tell that they use some sort of algorithm to blur things out because like license plates will be blurred out. If there's someone walking on the street, it recognizes the face and it blurs it out. But sometimes you can see it like blur out a piece of the tree because it thought it was like a face or something.
Oh my gosh.
Different things like that, or a store sign. But they managed to keep like the street signs, and so it's really weird. It's like a cool algorithm because you know they're not doing them all each frame
And they're so old. You go back and see like my last house, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the neighbor's car wasn't like that for like 10 years ago. So they obviously haven't updated that photo for 10 years.
Yep. And the thing that's funny about it is that you can try to find, you're like, okay, so where was I when they last took these satellite images? And if you park outside, you can go try to find the car that was at work.
I'm like, I was inside. And what was I doing inside when they took that picture?
Yeah.
I go in my head and try to figure out where I am in the house.
Yeah, and what year it must have been. And sometimes like you'll check 2 different locations, but the picture was taken in 2 different years or something. So you can't even find yourself. It's like you made it into the gap of their pictures, you know, like.
Yes, and sometimes they're so old, I go, oh, my husband was alive. My husband was in the house. It gives you a really good feeling.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, we were all together in that house when they took this photo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I can tell by the plants outside which plants were planted, which ones weren't, how high they were.
Yeah, totally.
That's cool. That is kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's neat.
Well, unless there's any questions in the chat room, I'll go back and whiz through them later.
I think we're all good. I don't see any red.
I haven't done any emails. I'll do them tomorrow. And I've gotten through half my comments. Half my comments I've got done. I gotta do the other half tomorrow. So never feel neglected.
Biker Babe says you can have her snow.
Ah! Mail it to me. Frozen.
Oh my gosh,
that wouldn't cost much to have a little freezer truck drive down to Florida.
Yeah, I was going to say you'll get like a coffee canister full of water or something probably.
Thank you, Biker. I don't want to walk on it. I just want to see it from inside a window.
That's hilarious.
That is hilarious.
All right. Lots of love and light to everybody. We will definitely be back next Saturday. And
yeah. And if you have if you have a request of a global issue you would like us to tackle, please email Shane or me.
Yeah, definitely. Or you can leave it in the comments below this video because we do go back and check them.
Probably in the comments after it's posted is easier to view than the comments during the show because they whip by so fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's better if you put it underneath the video itself. Yeah, it's hard to watch it and do all that. Let's see. We got 2 more before Christmas, so I was thinking of I don't know, some kind of joy to the world type meditation.
Yeah, let's do joy.
You know,
let's do joy.
Mending relationships or something along those. Something.
Let's do joy.
Holiday-like.
Let's do joy. What, next week or the week after?
Yeah.
What's the closest to Christmas? Probably next week, right?
Next week will be the 15th. I think it just said. I was just looking at it. 15th, and then the 22nd will be right before Christmas.
Let's do joy the 22nd.
Okay. So we'll figure something out for next week. You guys can leave. Thank you, Ronnie. You guys can leave your suggestions.
Cool.
And we'll figure all that out. Lots of love and light to everybody. Thank you again, Eileen.
Thank you, Shane.
Always
Thank you, everybody.
And we'll see you on the next one. Have a good one.
Peace.
If you'd like to support the work I do, go to paypal.me/UOTF. Thanks.